Why Everest? The Everest is the world's highest peak, standing at 8,848 meters from sea level. For us, the Everest is respected as a goddess, and we worship this mountain each time we climb, and we are blessed. We respect Everest not only because it's regarded as a goddess, but because it's the highest peak on the planet. And people climb this peak is that the view from the summit is uncomparable. Standing on the highest peak and looking at your surrounding and feeling that there's nothing higher than you is what makes you feel like you have achieved the dream of a lifetime. So my name is Tendi Sherpa. I'm a mountain guide. I have been working on tourism profession since I was only 13 years old, about 2 decades now. Over the past 2 decades, I got an opportunity to explore many summits in Himalaya, including 13 Everest summits.
En mis compañeros veo mucha experiencia en montaña y eso me da una enorme satisfacción. Nuestro guía en toda esta aventura iba a ser monje y la montaña lo fue tomando. Tiene una enorme experiencia en la montaña y es un líder nato, una persona extraordinaria y un maestro budista con quien caminar esos interminables kilómetros se convierte en un aprendizaje enorme. Ulises tiene ya más de 50 cumbres en Aconcagua a lo largo de toda su carrera. Es uno de los mejores montañistas de la Argentina. Todavía recuerdo el día que me dijo en el 2010, llegando a la cumbre allí en Mendoza, cambio 49 de estas cumbres por una sola en el Everest. Estoy a punto de ser testigo de su destino. Todos venimos soñando con este momento desde hace muchos años.
When we get to the base camp, we carefully select the auspicious day according to the Tibetan Buddhist calendar to host the prayer ceremony strongly dedicated to the mountain. And we put the colorful prayer flags, that cover the whole our campsite, and we strongly wish and meditate with the silence of mountain for the success, safety, long life, and compassion for our team, our family back at home, and everybody on the mountain. When the prayer ceremony is done, we feel like mountain has given us the permission to climb on it. And finally, we conclude our puja ceremony with some local Sherpa beer, followed by a good Sherpa dance. The mountains, particularly Mount Everest, holds the spiritual significance. We all believe that the Everest is regarded as a female goddess called Miyul Langsama in Sherpa language, which symbolizes the mountain of long life, mountain of peace, mountain of wealth, and protection.
Muchas gracias, Doc.
Y 2 veces por día la crema.
Muchas gracias. Estamos en campo base, a 5.100 metros de altura. Y estamos empezando a empacar porque mañana a la mañana vamos a mover a campo intermedio, que queda a 5.800 metros de altura. Además de obedecer mucho todo lo que te dicen la gente que entiende bien de montaña, lo que hay que hacer es hidratar mucho. No más de 6 litros por día, pero sí seguramente más que los 2 litros que consumimos habitualmente en la ciudad. Así bien, si no, el corazón empieza a irse con los latidos a un montón. Te puede llegar a ir a 140, 160 latidos por minuto y no está bueno. ocasiones, caminando en las morenas 11 kilómetros por tramo entre campamento y campamento, no nos podemos enfermar, no podemos doblarnos un pie, porque podría ser el fin. Es un momento muy delicado. Van a ser muchos días en los que un solo error puede ser el fin de la expedición para cualquiera de nosotros. En esas condiciones y bajo esas reglas, el grupo cierra filas como nunca. Somos una familia unida frente a todo.
Can I do it again?
Summit set 5-7,
And base camp?
5-1-50.
Ah, okay. Bueno. Ah, bien.
En esos lugares es donde, si todo sale bien, vamos a ir haciendo las rotaciones. Subir un poco, llegar al intermedio, bajar, luego un par de días y volver a subir para dormir en el campo intermedio. Bajar, descansar, subir nuevamente al intermedio y dormir allí, y al día siguiente dormir en el campo base avanzado, y bajar, y volver.
We don't really sleep like a baby on mountain because of high altitude, and maybe because you are thinking so much about everything, and sometimes you have to climb all night with no sleep at all. But during the acclimatizations and rest day, you will still sleep well, dream well once you are acclimatized. But more or less you are supposed to sleep about like 3 to 5 hours in between 24 hours.
Example, but when we're in altitude, people don't care helmet. People don't care their, especially like gloves and sunglasses, sunscreen. Like a jacket. They can live outside for a little bit here, and they do something. They take out the thermos. They have a jacket here. One gloves above behind the sack. One gloves maybe in the pocket. And if the gloves go away with the wind, you have a big problem if you have an extra carrying one.
Estamos en el campo intermedio, campo base intermedio, a 5.800 metros de altura.
Every day we get the ice to make water for drink or for cooking. But at the base camp, there is some running water or a small ice lake where you can get the water, especially during the day. Our staff in Sherpas works hard to get clean water possible. So water is very, very important, and people need to keep rehydrated all the time. So we make a lot of water possible.
Let's go.
Hey, how are you?
Sherpa is the ethnic group in Nepal. In our language, Sher means the east and Pa means the people from the east. Sherpa originally were migrated in the left of Mount Everest about 600 years ago from East Tibet, and that's why we call Sherpa, so people from the east. Since around 19 and 20, when Westerner began to climb and explore the Himalaya, the Sherpa were chosen as a high altitude worker or as a guide. And the Westerner found Sherpa very strong at high altitude and very honest and hardworking. So term Sherpa is used as a group of people working on a mountain here in Nepal or in Himalaya, but however Sherpa it's a caste in Nepal. Of course, most of them are climbers engaged in tourism business, but also there are many Sherpa who carries different like profession, like engineer, pilot, doctor, farmer, and a businessman, etc.
Los Sherpas de Nepal y miembros tibetanos de la expedición no hicieron más que llenar el viaje de vigor, amistad, coraje y trabajo, acompañados de una dulzura y sabiduría abrumadoras. Desde Tendi hasta el pequeño Achu es la etnia de las alturas.
We should consider that there is a dangers. Yeah. We should know, well, there is a fixed rope or there is a red flag. That means there is a dangers. So that's why we must be well equipped. We must must not be like saying
Trusting on the road.
exactly. We must not careless. So all the time with the helmets, as soon as you get into the glaciers, and as soon as you see the rocks, you know that you need your harness.
Tendi refresca todos los conceptos que son necesarios, todo lo que tenemos que saber. A esa altura, cualquier cosa que te olvides te puede costar la vida. Vamos a subir el Collado Norte para ir al campamento que está allá arriba, casi sobre el filo, que está a 6.000, a 7.100.
El miedo es una de las emociones más básicas e instintivas que tiene el ser humano. Para mí es fundamental en nuestras vidas y es fundamental para la supervivencia. Considero que no llegaríamos muy lejos si no tuviéramos esa emoción. Realmente es de mucha utilidad.
I will follow you. Slowly. I don't want to arrive at 6 o'clock.
El miedo sirve para reaccionar rápidamente ante esas situaciones. Sí, es positivo sentirlo, sirve. El problema es cuando tenemos miedo a nuestros propios miedos y eso nos bloquea y nos paraliza. Y no podemos accionar.
You have tea there? You have tea there?
One hot water. You want tea?
No, just give me have Tatopani. That's Tatopani?
Yeah, this.
It's okay. Okay.
Oh, hello.
Perro,
How are you?
¿cómo estás?
How are you this morning?
Muy bien. Estamos en Campo 1 o Collado Norte, a 7100 metros, y la mañana no pudo ser mejor. Llegamos ayer después de como 7 horas de subida por unas pendientes de hielo casi de 90 grados. Impresionante, una matada. ¿Qué va a pasar con el clima hoy? What's about to happen with the climate today? You have
Not bad today.
Not much, eh?
Not bad. It's like this.
Okay.
Sunny, small cloud,
Okay.
not too cold.
Not too cold. I laugh at you. Dice no muy frío. Y ayer el no muy frío era como... muy frío. Y hoy por primera vez me pude poner al final el monito. Después de tantos años, ya está puesto. Y... show my back. Ya pueden ver lo que es el Collado Norte y ya estamos apoyados sobre el Everest.
Đang cái là số là đang lên đi để cũng chỉ đi nhớ là
Aunque la altura nos mantiene cautos en cuanto a movimientos, estamos inmensamente felices por estar allí. Es una cumbre en sí misma.
Unos metros antes tomé la decisión de pausar mi paso, de ir más lento. Lo quise así para tener mayor conciencia de lo que estaba viviendo, ¿no?
We do at least 2 to 3 rotations, and we aim to reach 7,000 meter or even a bit higher than that if possible, depending on how well you are acclimatized. Your final rotations to high altitude camp will decide if you are ready for summit or not, because the acclimatizations we carefully do it because it's really important for the summit push. And if one can acclimatize well, if one can eat well, if one can do better and better during the rotation on a summit, on their like acclimatization rotation, then that will show that that you look fit for summit, and that's how we decide at the end.
El Stendi ya lo conocen bien. Y ya da por terminada la aclimatación. He said our acclimatation is finished, so we can go down to AVC and be ready for the summit push.
That's it, yeah. When you put the oxygen pressure in like a very high pressure and you try to fix the regulator, they turn this bolt, this not like this and not like this, and don't drop too much around this, because if it gets damaged, like now your oxygen is ready to use. You are ready to use your oxygen anytime you want. So let's say now ready for summit. Can I change?
Es impresionante cómo acá el tiempo pasa muy, muy lento y al mismo tiempo muy rápido. Ya estamos a 5 días de lo que vaya a pasar, pero son 5 días, porque el 23, el forecast, que es nuestro parte meteorológico, da que el 23 va a ser una pequeña ventana. Mucha gente que abandonó su expedición. Así que esto va siendo como un filtro que la montaña va poniendo de a poco. Subir, bajar, esperar, estar lejos de la familia. Porque Everest empieza a mostrar las distintas caras, no solamente la altura o la cumbre, sino la cantidad de tiempo necesario y que hay que poder estar lejos de los que cada uno quiere.
El ataque a la cumbre creo que arranca desde que me voy de Argentina. Desde ahí es por lo menos personalmente es mi cumbre. Es mi cumbre porque primero es el desafío conmigo misma, es el control, el autocontrol que tengo que tener para con las cosas, y esto de cuidarte minuto a minuto que es tan desgastante. Entonces te hace sentir casi como un bebé, o sea, estar siempre cuidándote de que no pase nada, de que no te pase nada y llegar lo más fuerte posible, que es paradójico porque la cabeza también va funcionando y también una vez que estás en la montaña te vas desgastando. Entonces decís, pero ¿cómo? Yo con todo lo que hice, ¿voy a poder hacer semejante esfuerzo estos 4 días seguidos continuos? Y bueno, parece que sí, vamos a ver qué pasa. Montaña baja, montaña alta, siempre tiene algo para darte, siempre tiene algo para enseñarte. Y generalmente casi todas las que vengo conociendo me sorprenden.
It's not too fast, ¿no?
Yo cada vez lo veo diferente, entonces no sé.
Well, Everest is not an easy mountain. Of course, it's not so technical, but it requires all what you need for climbing as a climber. So my fear is sometimes people take it too easy. They think that they can climb it if they have money. Actually, no. They need a proper research, understanding of mountain, and the safety, and lots of training to be physically fit. So when you have all of this, you have a great experience of climbing. Another fear is that due to the global warming issue, the mountains are melting so fast in Himalaya, and mountain seems less safe sometimes. And we have to do many ups and downs over the dangerous glaciers and slopes so as to set up the campsite, to carry oxygens and all the supplies. So you may be anticipating accidents in time. So you have to be lucky. On Summit Push, we have a very little sleep, like 3 hours in 24 hours. Sometimes you may have a more sleep than that. The death zone begins from 8,000 meters to the summit of Mount Everest, where the amount of oxygen is not enough to sustain human life for a long time. People with altitude sickness can die anytime without oxygen. So that's what I call the death zone. And actually, I have personally seen quite a lot of dead bodies, and a lot of troubles above the 8,000 meter means in the death zone. So you have to be well prepared.
Voy a poner la matriz.
Eso, traer con tu matriz ya estamos. Ah, acá está. Ah, perdón, no sabía pasar. Yo pedí el blower. Okay.
We'll sit on it to take away my boots and everything. And after that,
Si sacamos acá.
Cool. Please, can you rest a little bit? Can I do it?
yeah, of course. Y Tendi está como si estuviera en el jardín de su casa. Es increíble.
Muy cansado.
¿No? La gente que me crucé viniendo para acá sin oxígeno.
Oh, ¿viste?
Sorry.
Put it inside your pocket.
What's happened now?
We finally reached the last camp on Everest, which is 8,300 meters. We reached pretty well. Everyone did well. We are right here before the dark, so it's great that everyone can take a couple hours of rest here before we head for the summit push. This is gonna be a all night long. It's not going to be very easy, but it's Everest, and but we did a many hardest part of Everest till now, and we have one more night left. Hope the guys will do well. I heard the route condition is perfect, so all we need is the perfect condition of the guys and the perfect condition of the route, and well, fingers crossed.
Good weather.
Yeah, and good weather, of course.
When we reached the summit, the weather was good, some clouds but no wind. Everybody celebrated and enjoyed a view from the top of the world. Not everyone could make it, so it's a big thing when you stand on top and realize where you are at that moment. So we were really, really happy. I was very happy to add one more Everest summit, at least making it to 11 times. And I was such a happy to be able to stand up there with Facundo, Lali, Ulises, and Juan, Aldo, all the other friends in my team. It was such a huge honor for me to reach the summit of Everest with my very respected friends, sharing all that great moments. For me, what's also a dream come true.
Ahí está. Bueno. Hola mis amores, estoy justo acá en la cumbre del Everest, el lugar más alto de toda la Tierra. Y me pude traer la cámara, que anda, no sé cómo que anda porque hace frío, para decirles que los amo con todo mi corazón, que estoy pensando todo el tiempo con ustedes y que el Everest no fue estar acá arriba, sino estar todo este tiempo afuera de casa.
La verdadera cumbre es volver a casa. La montaña, todos dicen que la montaña termina cuando uno vuelve al campo base, que la cumbre es la mitad del camino, pero el viaje termina cuando uno realmente llega a la casa.
Felicitaciones. ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? Ay, qué lindo.
Estabas ahí con nosotros.
Ay, gracias.
Mira, Esteban. Llegué a la cumbre, carajo, dice. No lo podía creer.
It's normal that when we dream to reach the summit and we finally reach there, and sometimes we feel this is it. But actually, you have just done the halfway. You know, reaching the main summit of Everest or reaching the summit of any mountains that you climb, you have reached just the halfway. Sometimes going down, it's much more dangerous and harder than you think and you imagine. So reaching back to base camp after your summit, it's a big deal. And then to the home.
So proud. Nick! Ah, come on, give me a hand.
Felicitaciones.
Oppo, that's it. Thank you so much.
You're in a second home. Yeah, you still have to go to your first home. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Great job. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I tell congratulations when we get here.
Yeah.
Not on the summit.
And you have the most wonderful team I've ever seen. Come on, die.
Congratulations.
Ahora estamos todos.
Oh Lord, I see what brings me here. It's a mother to all my wanderings. The valleys green will age with me. Its dirt will shine and linger. And girls will come in festive clothes, and the boys will wait again, and we'll raise them high. That touch the sky will hold this earth. As the night falls, I'll see you home. As the night falls, I'll see you home.
En el techo mismo del mundo. Un beso muy grande a todos.